So, does anyone want to buy some Primaris dies? You want to buy some Primaris dies? Got a couple spare for some reason. Hey guys, and welcome back to Coffee Time. It's Sunday. It's a great day. It's Sunday morning. If you're not watching on Sunday morning, then it's whatever time it is near you. Hope you're having a great day. I have the fantastic SN Battle Reports mug today. What mug are you drinking your coffee from today? Because I'm just drinking Nescafe Gold Blend. Also, especially for this video, my girlfriend just made me shortbread on the logo. She's doing it for clout though. Oh. Go follow her at Georgie Broad. I hate you. So today, what have we seen? We've seen Firstborn Marines or Old Marines are gonna get 2 wounds. That's quite interesting.
Oh my god. Whoa. Oh. Oh.
It's definitely interesting and 100% caught me off guard because it's not something I would have seen happen. And I think that's the same for a lot of people because a lot of people moan that it's like, Tactical Marines are rubbish. They've only got 1 wound, why would you take them? And then games actually were like, oh yeah, no, they get 2 wounds, so yeah, no problem. And then everyone's like,
why are they making all Marines bad? Why are they bad? Why are they bad?
Obviously, none of this is coming to play yet. This has come about because people have been getting hold of the new art boxes of stuff, so everything that's going to getting repackaged. Just want to say that the new package looks amazing. I love it. It very much harks back to like when I first started playing at like end of 4th edition, 5th edition. You had like really cool box art, and then it went to like more plain stuff, and I weren't a fan, and then they've changed it back to this, and I'm like, yeah boy. So what we're seeing is new data sheets for a lot of units, for both Space Marines and Necrons in particular, because they're going to be the first ones updated. We're starting to see a whole host of changes. For example, weapon profiles being changed, stat lines being changed, extra wounds here and there. It's quite a scary time. I won't lie, it's quite scary. I've been playing Warhammer since the end of 4th edition, the start of 5th edition, and ever since I've started, Space Marine has moved 6. It's got a bolt gun that's 24-inch range, strength 4, rapid fire 1. Ever since I started playing, and they're starting to play with that, and I'm not sure I like it. We saw a really big change of stats and profiles and stuff like that when we started 8th edition, because 8th edition basically was kind of like a new game. They took the core of Warhammer 40k and kind of like made it an entirely new game because they got rid of armor facings, armor values, etc. But now we've seen that change like over 3 years ago now, and now we're going to be seeing core units potentially having a complete stat line change, which is very interesting and very scary at the same time. I have a lot of Space Marines and I know what everything does, and people are always surprised that I know every single profile, but now that's gone. That is wasted memories that I'll never get back.
Oh no! It's melting! My
Useless Space Marine stat lines.
gone forever!
But today I want, rather than just like milling over like, I want to actually talk about, maybe analyze some of the units and like who's going to win out of this, who's going to lose out of this. Space Marines, Necrons, forget what you know. We're essentially getting a new army for this because it's not going to be the same. But I want to look at the Space Marines and how they're going to change and what we might see different in the new book for this adding wounds essentially, and who are the winners and who are the losers. But not only Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines at the same time. The long lost brothers, the hated brothers, the really annoying one that you kind of have to take, your mum tells you to take to a party. So, let's get into it. Space Marines. I think, along with all the most units becoming from going from 1 wound to 2 wound, fully fledged Space Marines, I also think that the characters will also gain a wound to kind of represent that they are in command. We've got the same wound difference as we had before. So I think a lot of the characters are going to go up a wound. For example, captains, librarians, chaplains, etc. What that means is you're on the same level of wounds as Primaris. So like your Primaris captain and your normal captain will have pretty much the same profile. However, I think a lot of the Primaris stuff will just retain its 1 extra attack. Because you look at like a Primaris captain and a normal captain now, the Primaris captain has +1 attack and it has +1 wound. If they're going to add wounds to everything, I do think, my personal opinion, we don't actually know yet, that the characters will also gain a wound as well. So we'll only see +1 attack. But what this is going to mean is like armies are going to like not really change in size. You're not going to see like spamming captains for some reason, because they are going to just change the points at the same time. So I just think we'll be able to swap in between Primaris captains and normal captains. Primaris captains will be a couple points extra, but you'll get +1 attack as well, which is quite good. Because at the minute, what you've got is, you've got like a captain is comparable to a Primaris lieutenant, because they pretty much have the same profile, they have the same amount of attacks, they have the same amount of wounds, etc. But now we'll see, like with everyone getting an extra wound, the captain will now have the same amount of wounds as Primaris captain, but Primaris captain will have 1 extra attack. And on the tabletop, that's kind of cool. It kind of means you've got a little bit more option with what sort of units you can take, rather than just taking Primaris, because that is clearly better right now. But also you kind of can, for modeling and hobby terms, you can kind of like do some Primaris, a pure Primaris army. You can also do a pure Firstborn army with Firstborn characters, and not really like be penalised for that, which is kind of like I think where they want to go. And also they're probably not selling the old stuff, and they need to make sure that's being cleared off the shelf. I don't think Scouts are going to get the +1 wound, because it did say in the article fully fledged Space Marines, which Scouts aren't in the lore, so I imagine Scouts are probably going to stay the same. Tactical Squad getting an extra wound. Tactical Marines getting an extra wound is really good, because they have the flexibility of multiple weapon choices, such as special weapons, missile launchers, las cannons, plasma guns, melter guns, etc., which is really good. But also they have the flexibility of being able to ride in a drop pod, which you pretty much don't see outside of a Devastator unit right now, which them getting an extra wound is also very good. The fact that Vanguard veterans and Sternguard veterans and stuff like that are going to be getting an extra wound they might see more of the tabletop. Vanguard veterans are actually a really, really strong combat unit. The problem is they only have 1 wound, so they die in droves to smite, etc., and little guns. But 10 Vanguard veterans with Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields as Raven Guard infiltrating turn 1, jumping over your lines and killing you is actually really scary. It's just really easy to deal with right now. But if they have 2 wounds, Sternguard again being able to ride in a drop pod, having actually like similar bolt weapons to Deathwatch currently, and then being able to land an objective, 2 wounds each. 10 wound on an objective for quite low points, I imagine. Terminators going to 3 wounds. Terminators haven't seen the tabletop properly in an age now, but 10 Thunderhammer Storm Shield boys, Lightning Claw boys, or even just the classic old Power Fist and Stormbolt is going to be a really, really clutch choice, I think. Depending on how many points they are, obviously we don't know how many points anything's going to be right now. It's just interesting that like we can analyze some of these units that what might be good, because they might want to sell some of these units now. Oh, it's terrible being aware. You got Assault Squad, so you've got Assault Intercessors, which are pretty good, but now you've essentially got the same, but with jump packs, with 2 wounds at toughness 4. Cold Chainsword at AP 1, I imagine, because I think all the Space Marines will get the same chainsword as what the Assault Intercessors have now. They're going to be really clutch again. That fly, big movement, being able to jump everywhere again, use them as Raven Guard to infiltrate, or even you can just deep strike them naturally because they've got jump packs. And bikes as well. We've seen Outriders at the minute have like 6 attacks on the charge. They have 4 wounds. I imagine Bike Squad or Space Tactical Bike Squad is going to be like 3 wounds. Probably not as many as attacks, but maybe +1 attack with a chainsaw and stuff like that, which might be like a really good unit. It might be like really, really tough. And again, 3 wounds is quite hard to deal with. 2 wounds is more norm now. 1 wound, you die in droves, which is accepted. Guardsmen, cultists, no longer Space Marines. Hooray. Things that I don't think will get a wound are Centurions, because they already have 4 wounds. They are Space Marines in power armor, so they're 1 up from Terminators. So having 4 wounds to me, whilst obviously I enjoyed it rules wise, I don't think it ever really made sense. So I think if we have Scouts at 1 wound, Tactical Squads at 2 wounds, Terminators at 3 wounds, and Centurions at 4 wounds, to me that makes sense, and it kind of like it fits right. If Centurions came out and said, oh yeah, they've got 5 wounds now, that'd be like, cool, we're done. Game over. Thanks everyone. Thanks for playing. I think the losers in this are things like, even more so, the meme of the Reavers. Like, Reavers are just terrible. They have no place in any army ever. I just don't know how they work. Like, I do feel like Games Workshop had like a design path for Primaris, and Reavers were in there at the beginning, and then they went, you know what we could do? Not this. They just like detoured, but put them on the shelf anyway. The idea of Reavers is really cool, but the way they work, the Deep Strike 9 don't have grenades that are long enough. They've got the same profile as Assault Intercessors, but are elites, not troops. They just don't sit right, I don't think. And I think that's the same for a lot of people. You don't see them competitively. You hardly see them used outside of friendly games. And like, people only paint them because they look cool, and I think that's fair. But I don't know. Reavers definitely lose out again, because now all the stuff that they were doing that Firstborn could do as well, now you can just use Firstborn stuff, you can use the old stuff. So that's kind of like my thoughts on the base codex of Space Marines, and this is going to be the base codex for all Space Marines bar Grey Knights going forward from October. So I've kind of like thought about some of the other units that might benefit or might not benefit from the +1 wound. For example, if you look at Blood Angels, we have Death Company, which are very, like, pretty much guaranteed to get 2 wounds. That's going to be really scary. Again, we already got Assault Squads, we've got Vanguard Veterans being super scary with loads of special weapons, and then you got Death Company with like 5 attacks on the charge with 2 wounds. They're going to be so tough to deal with. Again, you're going to see the points rise, but oh my god. Like, Assault Intercessors are really good and looking really good as White Scars. Now you've got Death Company doing the same thing as well as they've always done, with +1 to charge because they're a Blood Angel, +1 to wound on the charge because they're a Blood Angel. That's nasty. The problem with Death Company was always that they had 1 wound, and the problem is with anything with 1 wound, it dies really easily just by failing 1 save. And that's why you saw a lot of people take Sanguinary Guard, because they have a 2-up save and they have 2 wounds. Now, Sanguinary Guard are comparable to the Blood Angels version of Terminators. Now, I'm not saying that every unit is going to get +1 wound. However, I do think Sanguinary Guard, I do think the Golden Boys will also get +1 wound because of the fact that they are comparable in the lore and the way they play to Blood Angel Terminators. I do think that they will get 3 wounds. They're like the elite of the elite in Blood Angels. So I do think that Sanguinary Guard will get 3 wounds and Death Company will get 2 wounds, which makes those even scarier, and they definitely win out. Now, what in the Blood Angels, what loses out is Primaris Captains, because now if we say that all captains get +1 to wound, now you've got your super angry Smash Captains, which get another wound as well. They're on 6 wounds now. You just even less reason to use Primaris version. In Space Wolves, we've got Thunderwolves and Wolfen. Now, I'm not sure about these, and maybe I need some more help in the comments, but don't think that either of these will change, because Wolfen already have 3 wounds, which is kind of comparable to a bike, or what a bike would have now. If they gave Thunderwolves 4 wounds, again, it's kind of like that thing where it'd be great. I also don't think it's worked, because it's a 2 wound guy on a wolf, because currently it's a 1 wound guy on a wolf, and he gets 2 wounds, but really it's a 2 wound guy on a bike. So he should maybe just get 1 wound. But then we've seen Outriders as a 2 wound guy on a bike, he gets 2 wounds. So maybe it's comparable to that. I don't know. The same with Wolfen, they already have 2 wounds. They're beefed up. I don't know. I'm not sure about those. Should they have 3 wounds? Should they stay at 2? Let me know. Dark Angels, Ravenwing, Deathwing, they win. What can we say? Now, Grey Knights are an interesting one because of some of the units they have. Strike Squads are going to be super scary. Because they have force weapons and Stormbolters, and they don't die like nothing. They don't die in a stiff breeze. But they have Terminators, which will go to 3 wounds, but they already have Paladins, which are their elite of elite Terminators, and they have 3 wounds currently. Now, I've said that I don't think everything should get a wound, but I do think maybe Paladins might get +1 wound, because the difference between Terminators and Paladins right now is that Paladins are elite, Terminators are troops. Paladins have 3 wounds. The Paragon, or the leader of the squad, has +1 weapon skill. That's it. There's no other difference. So if they made Paladins, if they kept Paladins at 3 wounds and they made Terminators 3 wounds for Grey Knights, you just wouldn't see Paladins, you just see Terminators. And someone did really well with like 25 Terminators and just a bunch of characters the other day. So fair play to that guy, but I don't think we'll see Paladins if they stay at 3 wounds and Terminators become 3 wounds. I think we'll just see Terminators because of the fact that they're OBSEC and they do the same thing. They have the same amount of attacks. The reason you take Paladins now is 3 wounds. Okay. Little brother time. Suck at some chaos. What do I think should get? Well, what's obviously going to happen is that Khorne Berserker is going to have 2 wounds, which is just like, rejoice for the chaos because they finally get something, even if the Space Marines get it at the same time. Man, hopefully they'll stop moaning. Just kidding. Chaos players have been moaning since the 3.5 Codex or whatever it was, so carry on, lads. You're doing a great job. You're doing the Lord's work. What other units do I think should buff? Obviously, we've got Havocs, which are going to be T5 and 2 wounds. Boy, that's going to be tasty. They've also got all of the equivalent units that we've seen from the Space Marine Codex, such as bikes, etc. will be getting extra wound more than likely, which would be really good. There's also Possessed, which I'm kind of like on the fence of whether they should get an extra wound or not. It kind of would make sense because they Possessed are mutated Chaos Space Marines right now. They have 2 wounds. I think the stat line should go to maybe 3 wounds, but that make Possessed Bombs really, really bloody scary. But also the possessed bomb isn't as good anymore, so kind of like having a horde of 20 dudes with 3 wounds would be pretty legit, but also points heavy. So they're already quite points heavy already, so I imagine we'll see a bump in points at the same time they get, if they did get an extra wound. I don't know if they will, but it's kind of like, to me, that would make sense. And that's kind of what I'm basing everything off. I'm kind of like thinking like, if this has 2 wounds, should that unit have 3 wounds, or should that unit get an extra wound? And that's kind of like where I'm at. For Thousand Suns, we've always obviously got the Rubrics, which will go to 2 wounds, and the Scarab Occult Terminators, which will be going to 3 wounds. They're obviously already good because of all the stratagems they got in the Ritual of the Damned. The book was essentially use Terminators, use Rubrics, and here's loads of buffs for them. Like deep striking Rubrics, having a essentially deep striking 10-man, 20 wound strong unit in your front lines with a 2-up save if you're really shooting it with rubbish weapons anyway, which is going to be really, really, really scary. The problem is with that is because of their ability All Is Dust, which adds 1 to the saving throw if you shoot them with damage 1 weapons. Now you're going to be wanting to shoot them with damage 2 rather than trying to chip them away at damage 1. So they might see that ability used less depending on what the opponent's using. I mean, if they've only got damage 1 guns, they've kind of had it, but at the minute you can kind of fling a Storm Bolter at Thousand Suns and try and pick one off. It's fine, they've got to up save, but now you do that and it's like you're gonna half kill one if you're looking rather than just killing one, which I think is gonna make people think differently. Like you're just gonna put damage 2 into them all the time just to get rid of them. But again, damage 2 is becoming so prominent now that you might not find that an issue. We have to see. Obviously, again, the same problem you have with Scarab Occult Terminators with 3 wounds and a 2-up save, 1-up if you shoot them with a bolter. Jesus Christ. And obviously, it's something, again, if all the characters also get +1 wound like they do in the Space Marine Codex, then all the Chaos characters will also get +1 wound, such as your Exalted Sorcerers and maybe your special characters like Ahriman, etc. Ahriman with an extra wound and Exalted Sorcerers with an extra wound, that's going to be like legit. That's going to be so good. And finally, we've got Death Guard. Plague Marines, 2 wounds. They are already tough to shift. You get +1 to the Disgusting Resilient, the Reward 1s, the Toughness 5, and now they're going to have 2 wounds as well. Just please, God, save me. Blightlord Terminators as well, with 3 wounds. They are going to be absolutely insane. I absolutely love them. They're really, really hard to shift. They've got 2-up save. They've got a 4+ him 1. They've got horrific weapons. They've got, like, really good shooting because they've just got Stormbolter output. They've got the Flail of Corruption. Well, it's just going to be like, oh, I want a unit of 10. Well, one of the final units, we've got Death Shroud. Now, these already have 3 wounds. These are the bodyguards for Mortarion. And these didn't really get a buff in Psychic Awakening, really. Like, Plague Marines and Blight Lords got a really good buff. Plague Marines got loads and loads and loads of buffs. You can take them big units. You get, like, extra attack, like, rapid fire at, like, long range, extra shots, etc. for both Plague Marines and Blight Lords. But Death Shroud didn't really get touched. But, again, it's kind of like that thing where it's like, maybe they shouldn't get an extra wound, but it also makes sense because they are the elite bodyguard of Mortarion himself. And if we're going to have Sanguinary Guard with 3 wounds, if we're going to have Paladins with 4 wounds and Centurions with 4 wounds, maybe it makes sense for Blightlord Terminators to have 4 wounds as well. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. So there you go. That's what I think. That's how I think who's going to win. Like, what's going to be scary. What some of the things we've got to think about when everyone gets +1 wound. Who actually gets +1 wound? Is it +1 wound? Is everything going to stay the same? And only the grunts, the tactical squads, the Chaos Space Marine squads, and the Plague Marines are just going to get +1 wound? I don't know. You let me know what you guys think in the comment. But I do hope you enjoyed this video. It's kind of like just me just rambling about what I think about what's going to change. I think it's very interesting. It's going to be a bit nerve-wracking because, like, I love playing Space Marines, but they're all going to change and people are going to be interested. I don't know. Let me know. But just want to say thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, then you should have liked the video, subscribed it. You should have told at least 7 friends to win an iPhone box. I'm not going to send you an iPhone box. I sent out like 60 quid worth of Warhammer models the other day to random people in the comments, but I don't know, that was really fun. Obviously we had the unboxing video of the Imperial supply drop and I was like, I don't want to use any of this. If you want it, let me know. And then I got like 5 million comments of asking for the same thing and like they all went in like 20 seconds. Well, I don't know, maybe I should do more stuff like that. Let me know in the comments. But if you're interested, tomorrow evening at 6 PM, every Monday at 6 PM, I'll be live streaming once again with my good friend Jay from Mohawk Miniatures. I'm going to be painting a this is a bit of a palette cleanser. I'm going to be painting a Lord of Change. It's gloss varnish, that's why it's so shiny. Because I fancied painting something different. I've heard they're alright. I've had this for years. I've had it since the day it came out. I went out and bought this, and I still haven't done anything with it. So I airbrushed it this weekend. So I'm going to be painting that on stream. Also, if you're a Spawnboard gang member, a small Marine gang member, or start part of Hellstorm Premium, Hellstormwargaming Academy, we've got a brand new battle report coming for you out this Wednesday. It's myself using Imperial Guard versus Danny using his Alpha Legion, which is really fun. And then on Friday morning at 10 AM, we've got a brand brand new incursion battle report between myself and Neil. I'm using all of the Indomitus Necrons, and he's going to be using Eldar, and that's a really good game as well. That's the running order this week. I'm going to try and like start advertising other videos so you can watch them. But otherwise, thanks very much for watching and listening to my rambling. Hope you enjoyed coffee time. Don't forget to tell me about your mug, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye now.